Hey guys, my name is Anthony and in today's video I'm going to be talking over my WOR Round 3 at Hanoi livestream race. So if you want to see more league racing highlight content similar to this, make sure to click the like button and stick around by subscribing to the channel. Now you guys can probably see straight away that I'm on intermediate tyres, and that's because it was a wet race and a wet qualifying. So pretty frustrating when I saw that this was the case, because I've been in a slump recently. I've not been able to perform as well as I know that I can perform in both WOR and TSRL. I've not gotten any points yet this league racing season and it's been very frustrating. Some situations it's been no fault of my own, and other situations it has been my fault, but it's been very frustrating recently. And coming into the first lap now, I was basically just tiptoeing around the track just to see how the track felt, how it worked, and what I needed to do in order to push. And coming off of the penultimate corner, I pushed a little bit too hard, and as you can see we bumped the wall and it just compromised our last exit, and we ended up losing quite a bit of time there. And we ended up doing a 49.3 I believe. And then moving on to the second lap now, just before the penultimate corner, we end up bumping the wall and I damaged my wing. And at this point I knew I wasn't going to be able to get into the pits and then get another lap in, so it was basically now or never at this point. So I just tried to continue the lap anyway and see if we could somehow get a faster lap with a broken wing. And coming into the first corner, I knew instantly that wasn't going to be the case. So going into the second corner, I didn't see Presto right away, and by the time I saw him I tried to slow down the car, but I just couldn't see him in time. I ended up going into the back of him, and he actually ended up getting a 5th place grid penalty, which I felt really bad for because he actually got pole position in qualifying. So we did have a little bit of a discussion and I did apologise to him. He thought it was his fault, however I knew it was my fault, so I did apologise to him and he seemed okay with it. So luckily no harm, no foul there. But moving on to the formation lap now, and just another thing that didn't go my way. The Renault behind me ends up bumping into the back of me and we both get disqualified, and we both can't do the formation lap because of that. So had to start the race on cold tyres, and I felt as if the Renault, when he was in front of me defending, he was a lot more aggressive compared to how he was against other people. As you can see, we've got 5 lights and away we go. So didn't get the best start there in my opinion, but at the same time we didn't get that bad of a start. There were some people who got super starts there, but I didn't realise how much you couldn't see when you were in wet conditions. We practically couldn't see the 100-meter board until it was right in front of it. We're going into the first corner, we were on the outside and we ended up going too far on the outside there, so I had to try and cut back into the inside in front of some people. We lost 1 position overall, but at the same time you don't really want to be losing positions when it comes to league racing, because a lot of the guys around you are just as quick or even faster than you. So if you're losing positions on the first lap, it's not like the AI where you can just dive down the inside of the AI, whereas with these guys, again, they're just as good as you, if not better than you, so it's going to be very difficult to really get those positions back if you lose them. But as you can see, the Renault already showing his aggression, trying to dive down the inside of my car there on the first lap, but we ended up keeping that position and we ended up gaining a position back on T-Pie. So at this point we've literally gotten plus a 0 in terms of the amount of positions we've gained versus lost. So we're basically in the same position that we started in. And moving into lap 5 now, the Renault did end up in front of me and we got a good run up on him going into sector 2, and we actually were side by side here, as you guys can see. But he didn't like that fact and he ended up just pushing into me. He didn't really care whether I was there or not. You can see, again, I'm not sure what's wrong with, WOR F3 and people being very aggressive towards me. But we ended up losing not only the position we were going to gain on him, but the position that we originally had. So we're back down to 16th place at this point, and we're losing quite a lot of time to the guys ahead. The guys ahead are just steaming away. So with each passing lap, we're potentially losing the chance to really get ourselves amongst the top guys and actually start trying to push for points. But moving on to lap 6, we ended up going into the pits with Raikkonen, and that's because at this point Jeff did say that the intermediate tyre were the quicker tyre to be on at this point. And as you can see, if you look at the leaderboards there, the guys who had pit in front of us, they had already pit for the intermediate tyres, so decided to follow them in and pit for the intermediate tyres. Go into the pits now, and I believe it's one of the cars, I think it's the Red Bull, ends up stalling the Haas and we almost jumped the Haas. However, F1, you know how it is, if someone in front of you comes out, they'll slow you down just to bring them in front of you. So sadly we didn't manage to get the position on the Haas, but either way, at least we're still with the Haas. And as you may have noticed, that the Renault actually chose to stay out, so at this point we're back in 16th place. However, when the Renault does decide to pit, because it's going to have to pit or else he'll lose too much time on the intermediate tyres, we'll at least know that we're back up to 15th place. So again, we're right back where we started and it's 8 laps in. But as you can see, the Renault now, he lets the Haas go past relatively easy, but you can see when it comes to me, he's not having any of it. No matter how I try to get past, he will just drive right in front of me just to make sure that I don't get a position on him, as you can see there. So I felt during this race he was a lot more aggressive towards me than anybody else, and you've seen on lap 5 that he bumped into me just to make sure that I didn't get the position there. So I'm not sure if he was just targeting me specifically, but I don't know, it just felt as if he was more aggressive towards me than anybody else. But at the same time, he did have every right to defend the position because it was for track position. So yeah, but at this point we couldn't get past him, so we were losing time to Raikkonen. But going into this corner now for the end of sector 1, I believe I let him brake a little bit later than me just so we can get the switchback going into this chicane. We ended up getting the switchback there and we've made the position. However, we've lost a lot of time already to Raikkonen because again, the intermediates were the faster tyre at this point and he's still on full wet, so him being as aggressive as he was, we lost a lot of time, and at this point we were about 4 seconds behind Raikkonen after just a single sector. But at this point I did feel as if I was quicker than Raikkonen on the track right now, so I just kept pushing and tried to catch up as quickly as I can, and a couple of laps later we've managed to bring the gap down to around about 1.7, 1.6. However, I believe that's where it sort of started to stabilize. We didn't gain anything and we didn't lose anything on Raikkonen, so really truly we weren't that much quicker than him clearly, or else we would have been able to continue to catch up to him and potentially even pass him as well. But at this point I was braking early when it comes to certain corners. I just wasn't confident at all, and it was really all about just trying to find my confidence around this track, because again, I feel as if this track is similar to, you know, the Circuit of the Americas or Suzuka, where it's very, very fast paced, but then it's got that tightness of Monaco, and I've never really experienced that before. You know, I know that a lot of you guys probably haven't experienced it either, but it was my first time in the league racing setting, and the fact that we had a wet race was really sort of just dampening my confidence. So it was really just about trying to build that back up and build my confidence so that I know that I can brake hard and brake late. So as time went on, we did manage to improve in terms of our confidence. We were braking a lot later and we were making some time up. We actually ended up making up a good couple of temps there on Raikkonen, so we're down to almost a second. So if this was dry conditions, we would have been in DRS, but going up to lap 15 and we get a safety car. And you guys know that when it comes to safety cars, I've always not liked safety cars on this game, because every time that I do a restart of the safety car, I either have a bad restart or I end up crashing out because of a restart. So at this point, again, I was just laser focused, just trying to get the best exit that I can, but the guys up ahead were just being really slow. I was getting really, really impatient, and by the time that they actually went, I wasn't actually expecting them to go, and once again, we ended up getting a bad start. I ended up losing the position to the Racing Point pretty much straight away, and so that's another position gone, and we're in P9 at this point, and that's literally just because we didn't pit, whereas a few of the guys, they did pit for fresh intermediates. So that's the only reason why we're ahead. And I did ask you guys who are watching the stream whether I should pit or not, and you guys said not to, so I decided not to, and we didn't get that much tyre wear, and we ended up fighting again with Raikkonen, still on the same intermediates. But then AMS Tom just decides to dive down the inside and pretty much just push us out the way. Again, I'm not sure what it is with me and this tier, but people are just so aggressive when it comes to me. They'll literally just shove me out the way with no regards whether I'm there or not. So I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know if people just decide not to be easy on me or something, but either way, you can see we ended up hitting the wall there. I don't think we ended up with wing damage at that point. We got super lucky there that we didn't get wing damage. I don't think we did. I decided to continue on. The track was drying out at this point, and the track was getting quicker and quicker with each passing sector, so I knew that at some point very, very soon we were going to need to pit for the dry tyres because of how quick the track was getting. But as you can see, my teammate goes into the pits. He didn't have the best of races. I think he kept crashing into the wall, so he kept needing to pit for new front wings and stuff like that. So it sucks that he wasn't able to have the race that he wanted to. But it turns out that we did actually get wing damage from that little bump that we had, and it just ended up getting worse and worse. I ended up with more wing damage after that as well. So on lap 23, I decided to pit because it just wasn't worth staying on the wet tyres with the amount of downforce that we were losing because of the damaged wing. So I decided to try my luck in the pits. So we ended up pitting for the soft tyres at this point. And sadly, when I got to the pits, my team, my pit crew wasn't ready. so we got held up even longer than we were supposed to, and because we were changing our front wing, we were already going for a slower pit stop. So at this point, I was just tired with how the race was going. We're back in P15 out of P17, so we're practically lost at this point. And again, it was just a horrible race, but this time it wasn't anyone else's fault really. It was just I wasn't able to perform the way that I wanted to perform. So moving on to the final lap now, you can see that Presto Evans ended up winning the race. So I was pretty happy for him actually, because he did get pole and he did lose pole because of us. So I was pretty happy that he won. But coming up the final corner now, we're going to finish in P14, and honestly, my slump continues. I'm just not performing the way that I want to. On F1 2019, we were getting podiums towards the end of the game cycle, and I felt really good about how I was driving, but at the start of this game, it's just not been going the way that I've been wanting to. So I hope that this video really showcased that when it comes to league racing, things don't always go your way. You're going to go through time periods where you're just not performing the way that you know that you can perform on the inside. You're just not able to actually execute that on track, and it is very frustrating, but hopefully you guys can get past that, because if you can get past that, I guarantee that you will start performing the way that you want to eventually, and things will be a lot better than they were before. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see more league racing highlight content similar to this, make sure to leave a like on the video and stick around by subscribing to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next video.